Welcome back, everyone. This is okay. Yep. So, with us today is our good friend Matt Molchany, Airspace's producer at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like to work with you for
the rest of our
lives. Time. Yeah, I think it's a good marriage. Pat, what's up, buddy? Pat's here.
What up, Pat?
Pat from Lab 212, and a good friend of the show, obviously. So thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, man.
This is a cool setup.
Yeah, we got a lot of moving parts. As you
I know.
can see. Yeah. So.
But it's cool you're handling it. It's really awesome.
Thanks, man. I'm trying. So, for those that don't know, Matt is a producer. You own Shards recording studios in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. I mean, to dox you, but I guess it's for business, right? Is that okay if we say the city?
Oh, it's...
yeah.
I just figured just let that stuff out and see what happens.
Yeah,
It's
good. Somebody did in like the 70s, right? Just let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he runs an awesome studio that you've had since, I was just talking to you about this?
I don't think so, but...
Or Brady was
briefly
talking
talked
about How long he's had it?
Oh, the space itself.
Yeah, since like 2009?
Yeah, it turned 11 this year. It turned 10 last year.
Congratulations.
Got the chandelier.
Oh, really?
That's
what
okay, April got me a chandelier for the
nice.
10-year anniversary.
Wow, I can't really imagine that room without the chandelier.
Yeah, right?
That's cool. Yeah, really brings it together.
But it's been there for 10 years. It started as like a rehearsal space, and I kind of had like a little corner where I recorded in the back, and it was it still feels communal, but it was more like not a business, just everyone's space to go and work for your night or whatever, and just kind of get in, get out, that kind of thing. So
you said it was a rehearsal space, and then the whole thing was not a studio, the whole so you had
no
a section
partitions.
Of it?
Yeah. So right now it's partitioned off. There's a control room, like a kind of a mud room kind of thing with a bathroom, ISO chamber, and all that. Then the live room,
where that piano is.
Yeah. So before it was just straight open, front to back, like it's about 70 feet deep, 75 feet or whatever, and it was just wall
just the
amps and
walls,
everyone's stuff, just everyone's stuff everywhere.
So what did you use before the window, or how did you?
I just I dealt with it being an open air kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, it's doable. TV stations do it. There's people who run their operations like that entirely. Yeah.
And so, what made you want to do that? I mean, I know you have an obsessive love for music.
Yeah, I mean, I got the space because I came back here not expecting to stay. But I kind of
because you lived in LA for a little
bit.
Yeah,
and I kind of fell in love with the music scene again. I always thought it was cool, and I really appreciated that. I knew people in my teens, in bands and doing stuff and playing dingy clubs and throwing their own shows and networking. And I saw the initial stages pre-internet of stuff like that. And it's oh, cool. These people around here are they're awake a little bit and they want to do something. It was really cool. And then coming back, I kind of saw how much more was going on and how much it progressed in ways and grew. And I was I need to do something here. This is cool. This is my home. It already was my home. It feels like a home. And then to be able to try and plant myself here and contribute, transform it, but also contribute to it.
Yeah, I'd say you're definitely one of the top contributors today. So
I try.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too.
What was I going to say? And it's funny. Did you have a question?
I was going to say, how long were you in LA for?
Almost 8 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Wow, so what made you want to come back then?
It was kind of incidental. It wasn't I'm coming back to do something kind of come back. It was I'm coming back for a little bit, and then I'm going to probably end up going back out, and then I just kind of got into the swing of what was here. I definitely brought my East Coastiness to there. The bands I was in, I was always kind of the one with the more kind of harsh kind of vibe. Not as a person, but sonically.
Musically, yeah.
So I've heard that too, though. That there's a big cultural difference almost. Moving, not cultural, but
they think that we talk really fast and we're uptight and all this stuff. Yeah, it's funny. I get busted on pretty regularly by my bandmates for stuff like that.
I even with the coasts, I lived in Florida for 10, 12 years, I think, and I don't know, it was a blur. It was Florida, So, but I lived down there, and they would I would talk normally, and they would say I had a weird accent. I don't know what the hell they were talking about, but I mean, obviously it's regional. But the weird thing was, I didn't notice them having anything kind of different. But I guess I have tighter A's,
Yeah. They kind of say things drawn out in Florida, from what I remember.
Yeah. And of course, there are people that actually have Southern accents. That's a bit of an exception, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, though, America's so big that the distance between the East Coast and the West Coast in Europe, that you can fit 5 countries in there. So,
So
the distance definitely can inhabit several different cultures within.
Yeah, it's wild, and it's
space,
crazy too. I was thinking about this. Like, I have a map in my bedroom, and I just like look at where I've gone and just look at it and think like, man, what would it be like if like we weren't as connected as we are now? I feel like everyone picks up on like culture so fast and like accents so fast, like the whole glottal fry thing where people like talk differently from like watching like the Kardashians and shit like that. It's wild. Like it's like things spread so fast now, and it's like I wonder what like
it's unbelievable, man. I think about that a lot because
people were they were actually probably more different than now, but I mean everyone feels like we're all so different from each other now and polarized and stuff like that. But back then like for someone in LA to hear about the thing in New York, an actual like album would have to go out and sell a bunch of copies.
You have to see something like on a
tour
major,
and all kinds of really big like parts would have to move for something
on like
a
major TV
station exactly for that actually like to spread like that.
Because like now you think like SNL, for instance, like that used to be something where people would discover
see someone
bands.
For the first time or hear something.
It's like
we're right now someone in like Alaska could like
we've had
tune in.
We have a friend, his name's Quez. He lives in Sweden and he stops by pretty regularly.
Yeah, it's so weird.
That's awesome.
People say that you're like, what?
But I love that though.
We also had a guy that came in and went to the same college as me.
Yeah,
really?
That was
That's wild.
It's
I love stuff like that.
Yeah. But the thing is too, like everything moves so quickly, and Adam and I are like at the age where we really saw the birth of something like say memes. Like we really saw the beginning of internet memes with the website called MemeBase. You had to go to a website to look at memes, you know, and there used to be like there was like a year or so where a handful of memes were funny. And now it's like I blink and something has already been funny and now
it's done.
It's unbelievable how like I'm on Reddit pretty regularly, so that keeps me somewhat up to speed, but it's just like it's so crazy how quickly things move. Like
it's daunting. And like the music industry, that's changed so much even in like the last 10 years. It's like it's amazing.
And now I would say it's pretty close to being on its head almost, like with everything that streaming and stuff,
and what you can do on your own is amazing now.
That's what I was gonna say. Everything's so accessible anymore. Like you can go and get the tools. I feel like you do almost anything. Pretty. I mean, everything costs like money, but it's all out there to get.
Yeah, like I couldn't like when I was like 15 and I first started writing songs. And I thought to get the quality of stuff we get with you, I thought we'd have to be signed to like UMG and like and be on tour for like a month before they let us record or something like. But now it's pretty awesome what you can do with.
That too, and like you come to realize too over time, some of it still comes down to like skills and talent and stuff like that. Too.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like you have to work away at something to really like get yourself out there and like make it stick.
We're in the midst of meme renaissance art, but like I feel like it's like the 5th meme renaissance this week.
Yeah,
like it's like the cycle has been
be the shards you want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
So yeah, but that's the thing too. Like sometimes I'll hear new music that I haven't heard, and it's like independent, and there's something like what I think to myself like the recording's really good, and like it's like it mixed weird, but then it's like like the professionals you hear are professionals. Like there are a lot of people who are still honing their skills, you know, but you can a lot of times it's like now that everything is the best it can sound, you really see how important and how obviously if someone needs to kind of tighten their rhythm work or their
how like a seasoned ear really does affect the output of something. Like someone chiming in with something valuable to say is still valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in both ways.
Yeah, like you're totally right.
Just because it's easy to get into doesn't mean it's like easy to do.
To be good at
and to be good at it.
Exactly. And even like punk bands, even like the Ramones. In the studio, they had to like nail it.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's a punk band, so it's like fuck, anyone can do it. But Ramones had to like.
The dude who produced like Blondie's album from the New York, talking New York punk, so like they were from that same scene, like around CBGB's, and like that dude beat the crap out of them to get. And like Parallel Lines is an amazing album, and you can hear all the work that went into it. It's nuts. And it's not to say like it's not cool to like rip a take, and if it's good, it's good. You know, if it sounds good, it is good.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you've listened to music where you've probably heard stories about how this was like a 2 mics on the kit and they just blasted away.
Like I accidentally hit record.
That happens.
He sat on the board and just hit record.
That happens.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And
totally beautiful. Yeah, amazing.
That's kind of what we inadvertently go for that, but it's also quicker. It saves time. Like when we're recording with you, we'll do this. And we'll record it, and then we'll go back and add everything. Like obviously, like we opened with Making It Out tonight, and you produced that for us, and there are a lot more parts and layers and parts and layers on that recording, and the live version is like noticeably different because it's a lot more bare.
Yeah.
It's just 3 instruments, including.
But the cool thing is about that is there still is at its core, like that day we tracked that, like
Yeah,
it was just cranking that song out until we got a good one. And I think we used like a little piece of one another, a fill or something from another take or something like that. But it pretty much was like one of the 3 best takes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was it. And it works.
Yeah. And it's so great because it saves time. It saves like mental and emotional energy because it gets exhausting after.
It also I just feel like it shouldn't not be fun. Or should
Yeah. Thank you, Pat. Yeah.
It should be fun though. It's music and it's a craft and everything too. But like you shouldn't have a bummer time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't think of a time where I was in the studio. I wasn't at least like 3 notches above like normal mood. You know?
You should be there.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole time. They should just be like, oh, cool, that didn't work. Let's try this, and you just keep on like trying things. And
like you time. And I, we had a lot where it was just you and me, and we were working on that keyboard part with like the Mellotron or whatever, and then we thought of that one like little accent part that kind of counters the guitar melody, and it's like there it is. Like there was like this gap. I didn't know what the hell was supposed to go there, and then I think you just back and forth until you played it on the keyboard. And it's like, there we go. That's exactly what it is. And you can hear it on the song, and it's like, it's just, and a lot of times I'll go into the studio and I'll be nervous that I won't be able to get something that I am satisfied with, but
and that's kind of like the little like trick I have in my back pocket is when people get stuck like that, I just kind of am like, exactly. Like I try and keep real quiet until like the moment's there. I learned that from this dude in my mid-20s. I was working with this band, the Henry Clay people, who were like starting to blow up, and like they hired a producer, then they had me come in to do like get guitar sounds and just chill and whatever. And I was like, they're paying this dude $500 a day, like he's not doing anything. But then he'd say like exactly the right thing at the right time, and he wouldn't just hammer away at him and just beat the crap out of him and make him like nervous or like think too much or whatever. And it was just so super effective. And I was like, okay, that dude's playing like the long game, and he's letting stuff evolve. And I also I work with people with mental illness for like over 5 years or whatever, and I just kind of learned like to let people let themselves free a little bit. Usually you get to a point where like the honest stuff, the good stuff is coming out. You just gotta like give people space to kind of grow into where they are.
Recording is a very
personal.
Vulnerable.
You gotta be vulnerable.
Like we have our friend Chris Kennedy come in, and we're working on something where he's shooting footage so we can make something out of the recording. But I feel like Chris is a good friend of ours. Like anything else, I wouldn't feel comfortable having someone watch me record.
Yeah, it's like, a little weird.
You're literally like, I remember a friend of mine asked me, like I told them I record ideas that I have on my phone and my voice memos, and the only person I've shown those to are my girlfriend. But like one of my friends asked if they could hear something. I'm like, I can't do that. It's like my brain straight to my phone. Like it's so personal.
You don't want to hear my brain, man.
And it's, I mean, most of it's just like, but it's just like even knowing that like, I haven't listened to a lot of them in a long time, so it could just be shit. And, and then they're like, oh god, you would use that? I'm like, no, it's just like, I'm just like it's a filter.
And that's everybody though too, you know. Like it does feel weird to like be that open with people, but you know, everybody has that stuff in them. I mean, like everyone writes a first draft in their life that's garbage. But like my mom always told me, you don't like first draft doesn't have to be perfect; it just has to be written. Which I
heard, I think Dan Harmon said that.
It was my mom.
But your mom's Dan Harmon? Holy shit, dude. No. But yeah, that's a great idea because I want to hear Chris's new show. Dude. Hey dude, if anyone in the Discord wants to set it up,
we're gonna be live.
I'll ban it. I'll take it down immediately.
Chris's brain tonight.
Yeah, exactly. My brain activity.
That'd be so much like just the music that like you hear in your head. Imagine being able to just like transcribe that.
I can't imagine that because it's like
it'd be amazing.
Because it'd be weird to
like in The Simpsons, the Meow Mix theme. Meow, meow, meow.
Oh my god! And I saw this picture. It was some guy on The Bachelor or something. Someone said his inner thoughts sound like an air conditioning vent. Like I feel like they probably sound like an air conditioning hum. It's like, dude,
it's like the sound of sausage being made or something.
Yeah, it's so anyway, recording's vulnerable.
It is.
And here we go, making fun of people's inner thoughts.
Yeah, seriously. That's kind of productive. But that's
but yeah, so that's great that you have that ability, and it's funny that you probably had a skill that allowed you to even see that in that guy. that producer. Because I'm sure some people work with him like, I don't know what the fuck it is about him. But he just like, there are parts where like I can't stand, but then all of a sudden something just happens.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't overanalyzing or being like incredulous to his process. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I wanted to do that. Or I wanted to engineer, but I also like being kind of just like chilling and like helping develop ideas and stuff like that. Like I love that a lot. So I was kind of just watching like what he was and wasn't doing, and it was like what he wasn't doing. That it's like the notes you don't play. Like he was like being jazzy. He's like not playing notes to a greater effect than just slamming.
Yeah, it's tough. I remember going to a studio with them a couple years ago. This was like, I don't even know how long ago now.
2014, I think.
Yeah, and it was like, you just asked me to come along and like, oh, yeah, if you hear anything, just let me know. And it is like, it's almost like pressure, because I'm like, you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to say that like, oh, this maybe is different, right? Yeah. And then they're like, that's my favorite part. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's like you said, it's like knowing like waiting till the right moment.
Yeah, because there might be
sprinkle in your.
There might be a handful of things that are the right thing to say, but it just might be the absolute dumbest time to say that.
Yeah, too.
And you need to shut up and not say that shit until it's like you really need to do that, and that might open it up to the other thing you thought you can now say because you're talking about that, or you might realize that what you came up with and what got changed or whatever got developed further affected everything else around it, which is how it usually works with art. Like you change, you like put a black dot there, like shit, I need more white there now and white there. It's all so interdependent, so that could change everything.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the move one stone in a river and change the whole flow kind of thing. Exactly. It's really true.
It's a very it's a weird. It's something like in most recording studios, like reality's kind of altered. It's just there are a lot of things you're not aware of but aware of, and
it feels like magic sometimes. You're
like some.
Wow, doing that made that louder because I didn't do something or like did something late. It made that sound fatter.
Exactly. I learned so much about mixing just by hearing things in songs that. Like if I can listen to a song, like if I go on YouTube and like say there's like a killer song where I can just hear parts isolated, I fucking love that. Like I will kill to hear stuff like that, because there are so many things that the rest of the song covers up that you don't hear or that are kind of subliminally there, like polynotes or polytones or whatever. Like I've listened to the song Mr. Brightside thousands of times, and there's this guitar part before the end of the song. In like this build up, and I didn't hear it until like 6 years into listening to the song. And
you didn't hear what it actually was? Like
I didn't even notice it.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, like I didn't even
notice it was there.
Yeah, and then
I have stuff like that too.
I think I heard them. I think I saw a live version, and it was mixed different, so I could hear it more.
Oh,
and
okay.
then I went, I was like, why do they have that? It's not
so
the song.
Once you heard
and I went back, I was like, holy shit, it's there.
It's funny how that works too.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That works for lots of, like that works with like mixing like synths and stuff like that too. Like this is actually a trick that April came up with. I can't say I did this. Like we're working on my band's first album with her, and she was like, just blip that synth for a second, then dip it back to normal. And like if you do that, you can hear it then. Yeah. Like you can hear it after that first blip. It grabs your ear, and then like your brain knows it's there, and it just kind of like autofills it then the rest of the way. Yeah. Huh. It's wild.
Yeah, and we've used that. Many times. Yeah.
If April, crazy. You're watching. I steal your trick all the time.
Thank you.
And I credit you all the time.
Speak with the blood. Okay, you guys are on your own. I don't know what.
I've noticed it too, though, when it's funny you mentioned like parts of a song you've like never noticed before.
Yeah.
I've always like if you have a song playing stereo and you have like one earbud in.
Yeah.
That's happened a million times. Where I've like heard a song a dozen times, and then you hear like something different in one ear, and you're like, wait,
because you're not being distracted by what's going on.
Like, the, like whatever, maybe the guitar tracks on the side, whatever it may be. But you're like, what was that's not this song.
Yeah.
That's funny. Go along there.
That was my dad is the. I don't know if do you meet my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you things about him all the time. Like he would do that because he plays guitar. And he got me into music in general, but he's never been super active in like playing at like he's never been like he's recorded and stuff and he plays guitar, but that was about the extent of it. But he has such an ear, it's crazy. Like there are and when I was a kid, I wasn't able to pick things out, but he would tell me about like you hear that little guitar part and he would like whistle it. I'm like I don't hear anything. And then now that I'm older and I'm a more experienced musician, I know
and
how parts work with each other. Yeah, exactly.
Like he grows a listener.
Like there's a part in what was it? In Between Days, at the end, there's like this little synth parts like da, 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 and I totally didn't notice it until my dad pointed it out. I'm like, son, or he was just whistling it. I was like, what the like? You just had that in real time? Like, was that there before? Like it was.
That's funny.
It's like there are so many things.
It's kind of like communication. Like to be a good like orator or someone who talks and makes sense, you got to know how to listen to people and know like how to digest information to be able to give it back to anybody. You know.
Yeah, you're so right. Wow.
It's all so similar. I mean, that's why music really is just this form of communication. It's obviously art, but it's just another. I mean, that's like that was like the main purpose of music in like earlier Africa, in different tribes and stuff. It was like a way to like tell a story to everybody, and it was like done as a group to kind of like, you know, like stoke camaraderie between everybody and like for a good feeling.
Yeah, because I know I know this sounds really like artsy or whatever, but there's something that happens when you're playing music. I don't like. It's just there's this, like if you played like 4 notes at a time or whatever, it doesn't sound like it. But if you play them in time, it's just like whoa.
It becomes
it becomes music.
It
I don't know what the hell. Like
Yeah.
it's so. It's really like.
Sick t-shirt. It's Pizza Planet.
Pizza. Yeah. It's a rad shirt.
Thanks, Pat.
But it's I think Andrew WK said one time, he said music is what emotions sound like. I think that's pretty
Absolutely.
good way to put it.
Yeah, if done like some music isn't, but when I think when done right, like you're hitting that at some point.
Yeah, it's what you relate to songs with. You know? It's like that's why you feel emotion when you listen to a song because someone felt the same thing you're feeling.
Yeah, that's why like some songs work perfectly with certain types of like scenes in movies and stuff like that.
And that's why sometimes it physically hurts to have a wrong song in a scene in a movie. like it's like sometimes you'll be like, I'm sure everyone's been in a situation where you're at like you're in like a bar with someone and you guys are having like a serious conversation, then some ridiculous song comes on, it's just like okay, it's like nails on a chalkboard almost because your brain isn't feeling that emotion right now, so it kind of
imagine if like there's just like this ripping bluegrass song at the beginning of Star Wars. You're talking, I was like just imagining those credits roll. It's like that'd be awesome.
Exactly. I just watched something about the making of Home Alone, and they got John Williams on the soundtrack.
I watched that actually. Yeah, that was cool.
And John Williams is the perfect. He wrote the Star Wars theme, you know. So it's like he brings out the emotion in the movie that you don't really know is there until
every little like detail of emotion and tiny moment of emotion, like a moment of like being playful. He'll just nail it and then connect it to the somber thing that happens next or whatever.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the greatest living composers, if not the greatest. I would say he's insane. But I bet people from New York immediately complaining that's not as good as back home. Wait, what? I feel like Elon Musk is trying.
Pizza Planet.
Oh yeah. Dude, I'm down.
We have to establish life on Pizza Planet.
Colonize Pizza Planet.
Colonize everything. That's our word for it.
Hashtag colonize Pizza Planet.
That's great.
Get that going on the Discord and Twitter.
I'm down. I'm down to get out of here. I'm ready to head to Pizza Planet.
I know
Mars is Pizza Planet. It just doesn't have any cheese on it yet. It's fucking Mars is the tomato pie of the solar system.
Yeah, exactly. I know Mars is a one-way trip, but if it's a separate planet, Pizza Planet, I'm down, dude. I don't care. I don't want to go on the one-way trip to Mars, but I'll go on the one-way trip to Pizza Planet.
Yeah, it could take like 9 months to get there or something like that.
I think as of right now, I think he said it's a one-way.
Yeah.
Like you're not coming back. Just because I guess the lift off from
I'm coming back. I'm going.
Just gonna rest me.
No. Like running in place.
And trying to jump off something.
That time Matt jumped off Mars. So, yeah, and then it's funny too.
Pizza Planet is under 30 minutes away.
I mean, everything's relative, right? But I wanted to bring
that's true about like people from New Jersey too. I was at my friend's house at his like a birthday party.
Yeah. Our buddy Vince is from New Jersey. But we're
no. It's a pizza Jersey thing. So I was in Delaware. I mean, this is completely irrelevant. But one of my best friends lives in Delaware, and it was his birthday, and he loves Westgate Pizza from like over by the Westgate Mall. Yeah. It's a solid pizza place. It's a thing. They have a thing going on. It tastes a lot of pizza. Yeah. It's good. So I like wrapped him up in like foil. I got 2 of them, brought it to his birthday party in Delaware. He's like 2 hours away. Yeah. His neighbors refused and like talked shit on him. They won't even taste it because they're from Jersey, and Jersey has the best pizza.
Dude, that's impressive. I was just talking to because my girlfriend's from Jersey, and she was talking about how Pennsylvania has trash pizza. I'm like, what?
Dude, that's not trash
and that's
pizza.
like, and I was with her friends from high school, and so they're all from Jersey, and they thought like it's like average at best. I'm like, what? And I guess my view's kind of skewed because I live in Florida. And I grew up in Florida. Everything that you taste down there is garbage,
Except for seafood, probably.
but I don't like seafood. That's the thing. So
So
it's
it's
like,
all garbage.
Yeah, it's all
Everything but
trash.
seafood's probably garbage.
Yeah, it's
Or Cuban food.
But yeah, but there were like 1 or 2 restaurants in like 12 years that my parents were okay going to, like if we had company or something. You know, you couldn't find good pizza. You always had to settle. But like when we would come up here for like to visit our family, it's just like we'd have pizza. It's like, oh my god, it was like a glass of water in hell. You know, it's like
Yeah, pizza in California was garbage too.
you're right.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was bad.
Even the places that were like, "Oh, this is a mom and pop place," they still they
Didn't know what they were
couldn't-
doing.
They had no idea how to.
so weird.
Yeah,
Pacific salt air,
I don't know.
I guess.
I have no idea. I mean, they made them weird. Like the crust was looked like a finger. It was weird. It bugged me out.
It was already
It was like-
sliced
it was like
when it came out of
kind
the
of
oven, and like
Fluffy. It's like a muffin. I don't know. Real talk here.
yeah,
We're getting
so-
real. We're talking about
I mean,
pizza.
if you guys can't relate to
A pizza rut?
and you're gonna make shit.
I mean, Lehigh's great. Lehigh's fine. Like that pizza is solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty solid
Oh,
pizza.
and,
But I had
By Funhouse.
I used to love Martellucci's on Northside Bethlehem. It kind of went. I don't know. Something happened. Martellucci's went awry. I don't know.
Crossroads Pizza?
Never had that.
Really? It's pretty good.
The brick is pretty good.
Oh, Brick is good.
Yeah.
Brick's got a lot of specialty
There's the
stuff.
brick, whatever.
A ditch full of pizza.
Also, there's a place on Tillman. For those watching in Sweden, come to Pennsylvania, go to Tillman Street, and there's a place called Jack's Slice. It's a
I've heard of that
it's
before.
a pizza place in a country
Yeah,
club.
I know where it's at.
It's really good. Kaylee and I go there
Yeah,
all the time.
I've heard of that before.
Whenever she's here, we'll go there.
We might have
It's-
talked about things. Probably talked about
Yeah,
pizza at
yeah,
some point.
I'm sure we have. It's cheap and it's very good, so I would definitely recommend
Cool.
it. It has good crust. That's my biggest thing. Good crust, you know. Penn Pizza's pretty good.
Yeah, Penn's solid.
Penn
They do
has
some,
a lot of stuff on their
They
pizza.
do
though, like-
slices now too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Cool.
dog
Yeah.
slices.
Yeah, they have. I haven't had Lehigh Pizza though. I should definitely.
It's good.
Grab that next.
It's a
time.
good all rounder. Their important talk. Their eggplant game is solid.
Through the roof.
Like
I'll be there tomorrow.
like on pizza or sandwich wise too. They have a really good eggplant.
Yeah, you want to
sandwich.
just go now? We can just cut the street.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's sad.
So, wait, take me there sometime. Yeah, Pat. I was just gonna say, if you haven't been there, we'll definitely go. It's very good, and it's no one really knows about it. So if you even eat there, it's like just a cool little clubhouse. You know, It's fun. It's a nice place to go. Everyone's very nice there. So, and it's cool. I always liked country club.
Martellucci's fan. There we go.
Okay.
It was better though. Like 15 years ago, it was slightly better. I don't know what they
Robert
did.
Ford, do you live near us? Is he the guy who went to Robert Ford?
Oh, really?
Is he the guy that went to school? To your school?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I don't do chicken, but I'll do
But
that.
that's bizarre.
I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Robert Ford, do you live
Martellucci's
near
again.
us, dude?
Yeah, dude, that's a second person
know
that's
us,
like
dude?
lives down the road.
Oh yeah, what's he say? Oh, Brewworks is a great restaurant.
Oh, the one. What is that one? It's not. It's like a name that I
Oh, it lives in the
want to
valley.
say
What the
differently.
Rad.
All right.
Did you find us organically through Twitch? Just out of curiosity.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. Where?
We're gonna get you an Uber over here.
Oh.
Twitch streamers. Oh, awesome.
That's
Okay,
super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, dope.
That's so bizarre.
Well, hey
That's
man,
cool.
if you ever want to come to a show, DM me, man. We're always welcoming in studio audience.
Grab some pizza on Southside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot of good food over there too. I'm not. We shouldn't make this all about food, but like, there's
I
a
mean-
lot of good. I mean, that whole area though. I mean,
Everyone loves food,
If we want
right?
to pivot towards just how it's a nice spot, like the studio is in the
Yeah,
middle
yeah.
of the arts district, and there's like
Oh, yeah.
really good food.
When we say middle, it's pretty
Lit-
comical
almost-
how much of a bullseye
The
it is.
middle.
Like, yeah, it's
Like there's a dope Indian
ridiculous.
restaurant that I can walk into, and they'll be like, "Yeah, go ahead, just take some
yeah.
food."
And there's that restaurant where that guy got really mad at Mark for parking his car. in the alley.
That guy's been like, I can't believe he's alive. Like that dude's been like nursing a heart attack for like 10 years. Like, I feel I don't want him to die. Don't want anyone to die.
Well, if that's his
ever.
neutral level
but
of
that dude
stress.
is like so aggressive that I just feel like his face
Blood
is gonna
pressure,
pop.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
and
dude. Speaking of face popping, how's Papa John doing? He doesn't look too well.
Oh my gosh, that whole thing is something else.
Space Pizza Party. Yes.
That's so bizarre. It's always weird to see people that are like
Yeah.
near here. This is the second
pretty
time it's
cool.
happened.
I love the polarization.
Papa is funny.
Oh
TOS, we getting in trouble for that comment? So, it's funny too, because our drummer Mark, when he came in to record, he had played at Shards like 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember that?
Uh-huh.
And that was such a small. He played with a band that was playing there when you had shows there.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw him play with you for the first time at the film. Was it the filming at the basement, or was
Just the 13
no,
show.
the 13 show.
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
13 show. And I was like, that dude looks familiar. I saw him last in a basement playing a show, I think. And it turns out, I saw him. My old band played a show with him, and then he played the studio like a week later or something like that.
Cool, man.
I used to throw shows back then too.
So,
out of that space.
I remember you said you would throw shows in your landlord show. I was like,
Oh yeah, he came to one where there had to have been 100
squeezing the Shards. Holy shit,
and then there were people outside too. And he came to
must
do
have
some work, and he was all miserable and retired, and like, did not want to see that shit. And I was like, I kind of like pushed back a little bit. Like, look, this is just a couple bands. Like, there's no money being exchanged. There's donations, but that's its own thing. But he kind of gave me a little bit of a pushback from the pushback, and I was like, okay. I don't want to lose this spot. This is too cool.
Yeah. So that's again, small town, small world.
Yeah, it's funny.
But so what would you say? Do you have any like extremely magic filled moments that you can think of? Like, because I'm sure
every day
a little bit magic.
I wake up like breathing, and I'm cool.
Yeah, good point.
No, it's seriously
No,
every
but
single
really.
every single no, look, for real though, every single session like something cool happens.
Yeah. Do you have any favorites that you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh man, there's seriously so many. It's like hard to.
What was like the first one that you experienced that you knew like you wanted to keep Shards going?
Oh yeah, we're like in studio there. Like it was really like the. It was one of those things where you kind of float back and look at what's going on, and it was like. One band practice just ended of mine, and then my next one happened, and then we left that, and then came back, and the other band that we're friends with was in there, and they were just making this cool, beautiful, weird music, and I was like, I am so happy that this is here, and that I'm here, and that like this can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not in like an ego, I'm doing this way, but it was just I'm so glad that like this is like I'm even here right now. Like it's almost like I didn't feel like I was a person; I was just a thing, like existing right then. It was really cool.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is a really cool moment. Like I like this band. I like this band I'm in. This band is amazing. The practice is here after us. Like what a cool thing to be a part of.
Together.
Yeah. And like lots of cool stuff was happening around then, so it kind of like all just kind of built up. I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. That happened a lot at 13. A lot of times, that it's a great venue. That sadly is no more, but
I've had a lot of moments at venues like that too, where I was like, it was just kind of like, and I'm glad you like. You're really particular about your sound and everything, and you're really professional with everything, but you also totally don't care about playing in a basement, which I give you so much credit for. Like I think that's great. Like good for you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, because that's what you do.
You're
it for.
right
Everyone's great. It's all
you're
raw.
Up in people's face. You're with your friends. You're with people who care about each other.
Yeah,
like that's like the core of what this all is.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like at like the episode.
It's the live shows. That's the whole point of this, is so I can bring something like that to other people.
Yeah,
it's obviously it's not
and
the
connecting
same
with people is amazing.
Exactly. Because that's the thing. Like I want to have people see us live on Twitch, and then once we gain a big enough fan base, we're like, hey, we're playing here. Come see us.
Yeah, you can see like where the people are and go to where the people are. That's
and I remember when I was growing up. You have to run? No. Okay. When I first saw, I didn't know what festivals were until I looked up like the Killers playing live, and I saw them play like Glastonbury. I was like, holy shit! This is the coolest thing. This is amazing. And festivals are amazing. But I hear in interviews a lot of bands like, I don't really like the festivals thing. You're so disconnected from the crowd. I'm like, what? It's a sea of people, and you have them in the palm of your hand,
Yeah.
But I kind of get it now, because I haven't experienced that yet, but I know that having a group of rowdy teenagers squeezed into a basement is just as exhilarating as playing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're right there and you can interact with them. You can. I remember. Like Andrew WK is one of my favorite artists. He has people come up on stage. He doesn't care. He lets them come up on stage.
That's great.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
And his show, I remember I saw him live in this brewery, and he was playing a free show, which was really cool. And the crowd, it was on like it was a solo show, so it was just him and a keyboard and his bass player singing backup vocals. But it was a lot of fun. He was playing like backing tracks and everything. The way we saw him the first time. Patari sub with Twitch Prime. Yes, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. All right. Thank you, buddy. The sound happened. Usually it doesn't. That's weird.
Yeah, that was spooky.
Yeah, thank you, man. Hopefully that didn't like blare people's 4-month streak. Way to go, man. Thank you. You're the bomb.
You're saying pizza is great or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So pizza.
Yeah. But it was in this parking lot. It was a tent, and he was playing on like, you know, in like school when you do some kind of school performance with like chorus or band, they have those dinky little stages that are like barely a stage.
Yeah.
It's just like by definition a stage because it's this much off the ground. It was that. And then all these people crammed under this tent, and like as we were playing, I was on the side and I could see the front of the people, you know. It literally looked like a wave. Like people were just like constantly
Like he was just kind of
ebb and like there was just this weird ebb and flow of people, and people would jump on stage and crowd surf, and they were like waiting for it to kind of go back so they could jump and be caught. You know, it was crazy.
That's awesome.
But it was all just contained in this small little parking lot.
That's so
at
weird.
A brewery in fucking Neshaminy Creek.
I was just down in that brewery by Philly.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think it was just Neshaminy Creek Brewing. But yeah, it was awesome, and I got to see one of my favorite artists of all time.
That's really cool. It's a cool way to see him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm so spoiled now. Now I don't even like going to shows that are any bigger than that because I jumped on his back.
Yeah,
like it was.
Yeah, it was really cool when we saw him in New Jersey too.
Yeah,
it was a similar thing. I actually I went to that show, and then like a couple years ago now, I was at an Avenged Sevenfold show in I forget what that's called. It's like right across that bridge in Philly. It's like the something center. Doesn't matter.
In Trenton?
Camden.
Yeah,
yes.
Camden Yard.
Pavilion?
Sure.
It doesn't really. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Either way, we're like way in the grass. And, it was a cool show. It was a great show. Like they're actually really good live. Yeah. But then and I thought at the time I went and saw WK, and you can just climb on stage. Like it's just kind of funny, like the difference.
Polarization. Yeah.
And it was just like it was really cool. Yeah, we were just up there.
Yeah.
He's having us yell into the mic. We're like, what are we doing?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. There's all of us.
And I respect him so much for that too.
Yeah, he's such a fucking cool dude, and just a great. At least, I mean, I've only seen him in character because I can tell he's kind of doing a bit, you know. But that bit is fucking awesome.
That's part of his art. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny because I met him after that show, like after he was done performing. I was talking to him, and I kind of like unknowingly kind of did some kind of bit when talking to him because I knew he was doing a bit, and
so you're all excited. And
I just kind of was like a chameleon, and I was like, hey, and I was like, I was more peppy than I usually would be. But I was meeting one of my favorite musicians.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
And
that's that. Used to be the Tweeter Center. I'm not sure what it's called now in Camden.
I swear it's like the
Center.
BBT. It's the something pavilion.
PNC.
There's a bank. I remember seeing the sign. I was like, that's a bank.
I think it is the BB&T Pavilion.
The LOL Pavilion.
Yeah. Oh, no, the BB&T Pavilion. That's the one in Bethlehem, isn't it?
BRB Pavilion.
JK, my BFF Pavilion.
The barbecue pavilion.
Yeah.
The Wiggles. That's probably nuts.
Didn't that actually happen? I feel like they were playing some festival and people
Brady
actually started. I feel
like
if someone knew, Brady would.
Let's check with Brady.
Yeah.
What's up with the Wiggles? Do they have a mosh pit or what?
Wiggles lore. But yeah, so yeah, I love playing basements.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
And I had a few moments in my 20s. I toured a bunch and I played everywhere. And it's funny. I just got an email 3 days ago from someone who I played his loft venue, his house venue, just outside of Portland, Oregon, in 2003 or something like that. Jeez. And then I played the equivalent of that place at this just almost like one of the northernmost points of the U.S. in Plattsburgh, where there's a SUNY, a University of New York or whatever in Plattsburgh, and his wife went there when we played there, and he was like, I just learned my wife went to the school right by the weird DIY venue you played that's like the DIY venue that I had in 2003, and now we're married and have kids and we live in upstate New York. And he was just like, it's so weird all the things that
and that happened before they met?
Yeah, she was there independently of knowing him and everything. I booked that show. There was actually this resource called Book Your Own Fucking Life.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It was Maximum Rock and Roll, this zine, which is zines were a huge thing in the 80s and 90s and everything.
Yeah,
that's kind of how you found out about bands, what was going on, kind of the culture around everything too. I kind of started learning about that Nazis were a real thing, that were people who were out there that would go to shows and fuck with people who were effeminate or
skinhead.
Yeah, skinhead dickheads, and I learned how you tell them to fuck right off, and how what punk really is, and it's about accepting everybody, and it's not a dress code, it's not this or that.
It's just very much. Exactly. Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize that until I started writing and really playing shows. You don't realize it's I saw a YouTube comment. I was like, oh, and someone's like, it was like this punk cover of like Forever Young by Alphaville, and it was really like the person wasn't singing, and it was just like really, it was like the most raw punk you can get. Mm-hmm. And someone was like, this isn't punk, it sucks. He's like, the point of punk is everyone can do it. And I was like, oh,
it's like what you make of it.
Yeah, anyone can. Like, okay, that makes sense. So it just happens that that's what it sounds like, but it's about something bigger than that.
Yeah. It's more like an ideal to me than a sound. Yeah. I mean, it's an easy way to describe a certain thing. Like D-beat punk is one thing versus pop punk. Like those are two very clearly different things. And calling it that helps you delineate.
I was talking with Chandler, Lizzie, and Pat of Lab 212 the other night about subgenres and how it's a nightmare. And like they were asking me, like, because they were going through like Spotify decade lists or whatever, and the one was like pop punk of the, and I was looking at this like, there's no, like, this is complete, like, this is not what pop punk sounds like. And they were asking me like, well, what does it sound like? I'm like, you just know. Like,
and it's kind of what you've been socialized to think it is in the moment too, because pop punk is it changes with a year. It changed slowly, then changed drastically in the early 2000s too.
And you know what's weird? This area, it's kind of died down, but I remember when we first started like playing, this area was so heavy with pop punk.
Oh my gosh.
There were so many pop punk
in like high school.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude. Oh my gosh.
Like we played a battle of bands at our high school. There were like 6 bands. We were the only one that wasn't pop punk.
Oh really?
It was pretty.
It was like that, like in the 2000s, touring the country too. It was like there was like a Fall Out Boy ripoff band like in every small city that you hit, pretty much.
I was just saying Blink 182.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing too.
It's like West Coast is like what's another pop punk band? Like Green Day. Midwest is Fall Out Boy. East Coast is Blink or something. Like it's everyone has their regional. And they asked me. Make sure. And I think Tom DeLonge has said, Quez, what's up, dude? This is our buddy Quez from Sweden.
Oh, yeah. That's right, that's the guy.
He was just being a rebellion. Look at Vicious Sex Pistols. He was Jewish, very much lefty. Wanted to revoke people. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like it's just pissing. Like rock and roll is just.
Yeah, and I feel like that was kind of more a rock and roll move in a way. Yeah, but that was still like a pretty fucking punk move too.
Yeah, but it's all just about stirring shit up.
Yeah, you know? But then I feel like in the mid '80s it became more self-aware and conscious.
Yeah.
With like the Discord record scene and stuff like that, like DC hardcore and shit. Like people became more political. Yeah. Too, and emotional. Like emotional hardcore was kind of born in the late '80s and everything too, where it was more introspective and you kind of think about what does it mean, what's this message. Yeah. And it became more out there what the message was.
Yeah, there's so much more weight.
Bollywood black metal. Dude, some Bollywood music is like the raddest stuff.
Punk ain't no religious cult. Punk means thinking for yourself.
Yep, exactly.
Damn straight. Yeah, because like I forget there are pictures you see of like a gay couple kissing in front of someone that's protesting gay marriage or something. It's like that's technically pretty fucking punk. Like that's pretty rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what the content is.
Yeah.
It's the
juxtaposition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that, and I used to be in this box or this of like, oh, if you use a drum machine, you're not fucking rock and roll, or like if you use fucking just any like I had these weird. I still have like some where I won't use like pitch correction or a drum machine, but they're like because I was just
well, you have a thing, you have a sound you're going.
Yeah, it's just like because I personally, again, I'm not against it. Jack White just used a drummer, and he's my god. You know, like I'm not gonna like. But it's still, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, okay, they're cool now because it's just like I personally prefer real drums, you know. So
you feel like there can be a lot of like almost anything, but there can be like a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Like, it's not rock and roll unless you do this or that.
Yeah, it's just like fuck off.
Yeah,
it's just So I
that is very punk. That they like could have been treasonous by writing a song that mocked the Queen, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like that shit shouldn't happen anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
like, no government should be doing shit.
Yeah, I just saw a video where these guys from I forget, it was a Middle Eastern country, and they were playing Metallica. I don't know if they were playing on the radio or something, or they had some kind of platform and they were playing Metallica, and that wasn't allowed. Or no, they were making a movie about metal, I think.
Oh, I think I heard like a little thing, something about
and
this.
He was sentenced to death He got out of there, I'm pretty sure. I think he escaped before, but he was sentenced to death for playing or making a movie about metal, I believe. I could be totally wrong, but it's something in that vein. And I saw him, he went to a Metallica show, and James gave him a guitar and signed. It was really cool. But yeah, it's context, man. Like there are some things now that are so much more metal and rock and roll than they would be in the 90s or something, you know? Like,
yeah, it depends on like when it's happening, but it's all like that's like in a lull politically or something like that where there's not any turmoil.
Yeah,
music is just this beautiful thing.
Yeah,
and then when it's some kind of weird time of unrest, it's like a tool. You know, it's amazing. Like it covers so much ground. It's an art form that does so much.
Yeah, and it's such a good. It's always it's like a chameleon with whatever it needs to help with. You know, like in the take Metallica, like. Their big thing was all these bands now wear all this makeup and these costumes and shit, and they just like, no, we just wear jeans and a vest, and like that's real, and that like, so that's the cool thing. But now it's kind of
it's not always real. Okay, like, so I have a couple things I think about this. And one is like,
I'd love to hear it.
There's like, there's not just like when you're consciously choosing to be the opposite of something, that's a contrivance. You know what I mean? That's as contrived as the person putting on the makeup, there's nothing wrong with either. Like that's the thing.
But when you say it's real, like it's you're going out of your way.
And real is another like you said, it's like the beginning of gatekeeping of anything. You know what I mean? Sure. It's dicey territory. Yeah, I think like the only thing I wouldn't call it real, but I think what I would say untouched to like outsider music. Yeah, like there's lots of stuff where they don't really understand what they're doing or how to do it or like how to put it out there. The industry, they don't talk to people about what they do. They just kind of go do it and then piece out of it. Like there's lots of music that's like that, and it is just, you know, some of it is super bizarre. And like that's, if you want to call it real, I guess like that's the closest thing I would call real. Or just being honest with yourself about what you're doing. Like I don't like that stuff. I want to do something like this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
You're making a choice.
And I think that's the best thing you can do. Like that is the definition of rock and roll. In my opinion. You know, it's the attitude and doing whatever the fuck you want, regardless of what the music scene is doing or what's popular now or what'll work. You know, like just write the songs you want to hear and have a stiff upper lip about it. You know.
Yeah, I was just talking to like I literally pulling up here was like just quick fielding a text from somebody. I was fielding a text from this dude who I mixed some stuff for, and he's submitting it to playlists and all this stuff. He recorded the track in Austin and emailed it to me, and then I tweaked it and like mixed it and all this stuff. And he did a great job with it. And like we tracked stuff at the studio too when he was on tour. He came in for like 5 days and then another 3, and then he took off. He just kind of travels, plays festivals, whatever. Yeah. And he was like bummed, like he's like, this blog told me that like my vocals aren't strong. I'm like, well, it's like a really fucking vulnerable song. Like you sound like you're like, you know, telling like someone a secret. To be strong. Like I was like, like this sound like, and he told me the story of him writing it. It's like he woke up and like was like worked up about how disconnected people are with social media and all this stuff, and it just hit him, and he felt sad and like frustrated, and he wrote this song. But it was kind of like a yearning kind of song. It wasn't like an angry song. And I'm just like, dude, just take it with a grain of salt. Like you did a great job. You captured something cool. Like
they don't know the
it's a Spotify playlist. Like they probably are also like reviewing like an electronic song after years. Like for real. Really, like there's, I mean, it's so niche too. It was an acoustic song with his voice, a flute, and acoustic guitar.
Wow, yeah. So,
and he put himself into it, and I feel like he actually. I'm going to tell him this. I didn't yet because I told him to get back to him in full later. But I feel like he put more of himself into this song than stuff we did when he was here on tour. Like I feel like he put himself way in it and really was in it. And
that's great. It's and the Les doesn't know the fucking story behind it. Yeah, he doesn't know even the meaning of the song. You know?
I just hate to see him like think he has to go retrack vocals or something. Dude, like go drive from Florida to Austin. Like
I remember. It's funny you say that. I remember one time when I was in college, I would like. If I was recording something and I had a class that like everyone would kind of communicate, I would like tell everyone like, hey man, I just recorded something if you guys want to hear it. And they're like, yeah, dude, can you bring me a CD? I was like, yeah, sure. So I'd hand it out to some of my classmates, and this one guy came back. He listened to it, and then like the next day, he's like, hey dude, I listened to it. I was like, oh, thanks, man. And I was just doing it to share it with them, you know, like and so he came back. And he's like. Yeah, I was listening to the one song, and I like took some notes on it. I was like, it wasn't really my thing, but I have some like suggestions that could like make it better. I'm like, I'm not gonna change it. It's like he's like, well, it just wasn't my thing. I didn't think it was like anything. I was like, okay, I mean, like, thanks, but like,
Yeah, you can appreciate that.
Yeah, like it was
cared.
just fun. Like he was like he kind of paused and waited for me to be like, "Go ahead."
All right.
yeah. Like it was just kind of interesting that sometimes people.
You know what you like. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yeah. I'm. You know how particular I am. Like,
and like some random playlister shouldn't make you want to change your sound.
Exactly.
I've been in bands where someone received feedback from a label who loved the songs, but they thought it's a little too grungy for their style, and it's like, okay, well, we're not that band. We're not a sunny band. And then the person was like, "This, I didn't want to sound like that. Like I thought we were going to be a dreamy band, like what they want. It's like this is one fucking label out of a billion. Like who cares? Like look, just be ourselves. You know,
because that's the only way. And I know it sounds like this. It's kind of like a thing you hear for your whole life is be true to yourself. And
no, it's so fucking true.
But it's it's not even like this. I have.
You know, it's you realize how fucking true it is when you start to realize how dumb and like not true to yourself. You can be like, oh fuck, I totally lied to myself for a little bit. Now I know that I really should be true to myself. Yeah, and it sounds cheesy until you fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of you're right. And I wish I've been thinking about this with a lot of pieces of advice that are true and very common, but you don't really realize until you experience it. A lot of people are too cinematic with their advice. Like you see these. Like let's take that for example, like just being true to yourself. Like write the songs you want to hear. You don't write a song like, oh, I think this will make top 40. Like this is exactly what the general public wants to hear. It's gonna come through. Like it's not even like a thing of like, no, dude, don't do. You're gonna hurt your. It's just like it's not gonna sound that good. Like it should be as black and white as like you need to practice guitar to be good at it. Like it's like a lot of people like you hear like these like motivational posts on Instagram or something like, you need to get up, be true to yourself, don't let anybody tell you who you are. It's like, yeah, but don't say it like that, because then you think like, what am I doing wrong? Because I don't have that emotion that you're projecting at me.
I'm not like waking up and like chugging eggs.
Yeah, like but like you can still achieve that without having the music and the sweat that this guy is.
You don't have to do anything exceptional to be true to yourself.
Exactly, and there are so many things like that with like writing, just like write every day or something. Like just write something. What was the fucking one today that was like exactly what I'm thinking? Just being persistent and writing, and just being, if you want to be creative for your life, you know.
That's wild. The comment.
Force 1 year military service.
Force 1 year military service. We'd have so many fewer pop punk bands.
Jesus.
They come back a lot angrier.
Oh my god. Real. I think you hear a lot about bands too that like once they get big they like change their sound based on what someone told them, right? And then like
there's a handful of bands that I like that did that.
And then they hate their own music. I feel like I can't think of the example of that.
Well, there's one the guy that wrote Cherry Pie.
That's what that's exactly what I'm thinking of. You told me about this.
He Van Warren. Like, he wrote this album and the label's like, we need a single, like we need a hit. And he's just like,
he barfed.
I guess this is what you would want. And he wrote Cherry Pie, and now I'm the fucking Cherry Pie guy. I want to kill myself.
Cherry Pie
like,
guy.
Oh, dude. And he's like legitimately depressed by it. And I feel him. You know, it's just he wrote this song that other people wanted, and now they associate it with him. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, dude.
Yeah, that has to be it. Like
that would suck. You know?
Yeah.
It's almost dude, for real.
Jeez. That's rough, man. Sorry.
So it's, dude, that's oddly specific. But it's like, it's just stuff like that. Like, but I was saying there are so many things where, I thought I was doing something wrong because the way the person was telling me to do it was so much more intense than it had to be. Mm-hmm. You know,
like I don't want to snap into a Slim Jim, Macho Man. Like that doesn't sound just fun.
Like, just have a Slim Jim.
I'm vegetarian, man. For real. Don't make me eat that meat.
And the
I know what you're. I'm sorry, that was a weird example.
No, you're totally right. That's just like okay, and it's just I wish things like that had been presented to me differently growing up. I feel like I could have saved a lot of time.
Well, you know what? I think
growth.
I think with myself, I think the whole discovering punk and realize like the veil that was lifted on my life once I realized the ethos behind it. Yeah. It kind of applied to everything. It's kind of like I don't have to be a hippie to find some kind of zen in things and be like into like some tenets of Buddhism or something like that. I don't have to be religious to be spiritual. I don't have to be this to be that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's like lots of conflation with like different ways of being a human being that I don't think are real. Like you can just like it's actualize and like realize what you are. I mean, it's hard to realize what you are, but you have it's look at yourself, realize who you are, and like what you really want to do. Like, don't completely compare yourself to everybody else to find that. Like, you don't have to have like an Instagram feed full of yourself at like in front of the ocean, like. To reach enlightenment, like you could reach that in your basement. I probably found enlightenment in a fucking loft in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I was gonna say enlightenment existed before social media.
It's a way to make you think that like it's giving you some way to chase it, basically. Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of bullshit in that.
For real, yeah, dude.
Because it all comes down to you. It's not anybody else. If you have if someone can tell you if you like listen to me right now, anybody, and you're like, I tell you, it's you. You can change yourself, and you believe me. Then you can just do it.
Yeah, that's exactly like just that's it.
I know, and it's hard. I mean, everybody has their struggles. Like we're all at different levels of like whatever actualization or I don't know development of themselves and stuff. Like it's everyone's different.
Yeah, but
it's not as easy as like snap out of it.
Yeah, but you also this kind of I agree with that. But there was something that. Like, I kind of overthought it because of how people were talking about it, and it stopped me from making progress, And so there's so many things where you should just take the idea and what you think it is, just kind of keep it to yourself and think about how you, like, just visualize yourself doing it. Like, how would I do it? It's like someone's like, you say, like, oh, you need to get motivated, you need to find a job, and then you want to start a business, so you got to get motivated and inspire yourself. It's just like,
how I did all those things? By being a shithead for a minute. And then getting myself out of being a shithead.
Maybe apply to a job a day, make some business cards.
Yeah, I think,
and then it'll snowball, and like it just starts with shit like that.
And I'll tell you the rest of the secrets for $29.99.
Yeah, fuck off with that shit.
Fuck right off.
Oh god.
Yeah, some people I feel like some people respond to that stuff, right? Like I feel like you look on like Instagram and there are people that will like repost that stuff to their story with like these motivational things or this or that. And then like for me it's like
what?
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. Or like if you see people at the gym and their buddies like yelling at them to get out that last rep. If I'm doing that, I'm like, dude, can you leave me alone? It's just I think it's how you
You're making me shake a little bit.
It's just kind of like for me, I'm much more just like your mentality of like I just need to start doing it.
Yeah.
So once I start doing it,
and it's not that easy. Like it's kind of it's almost irresponsible to say like it's as easy as just doing it. Like tell yourself to do it. Everyone has different like layers of whatever you have to get through to motivate yourself.
Yeah, I'm saying that is the one. It's just as wrong as the other end that I'm talking.
Yeah, the first step is the hardest.
Yeah, exactly.
And the second step might be even harder. You never know. But then sometimes there's a third step that's easy. Like it's so non-linear.
Yeah, motivation's weird. Discipline, all that.
It really is. But I feel like the idea of motivational speaking it's a little too like boxed in with the like stand up, pat your, like it's like stress. I want there to be motivation to be like, I don't know, dude, just do it, just go. Like you wanna there's a seminar you wanna go, just fucking do it.
That's part of what I learned with like that mental illness job. Like to motivate, like it's motivating people is not just a push people kind of thing. You have to kind of create the vacuum in front of them for them to move into the next phase in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Like motivational interviewing, like asking questions that are like, what are the things that are holding you back from getting to the next step? Let's talk about them. Let's list them. Or you talk about whatever one you want to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Exactly. And then you kind of start wandering around into the next thing that if you have to jump into it on your own, like it's horrifying and it's scary. But like if you're being guided there or you're kind of slowly meandering through it, it's like, oh, it's not that bad.
That's definitely how my brain works. It's like I can't have someone tell me just to do it. It's like I need just like some gentle steps to get me into like doing something.
Or not even steps too. Like it's just kind of like, well, what do you want to do next? What's the thing you're trying to do? And it's like, what's tough about that? Like what's the hardest part about it? Okay, well let's get to that later then. Like what's some other part of it you got to knock out?
Yeah, because like Chris is saying, you go like I remember at school one time there was like some motivational thing like written on the sidewalk. Some club did it, and I was like, why am I looking at the sidewalk for help? What's going on here?
Like how do people like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think motivational sidewalks is a great idea. I want to see that in South Bethlehem.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll happen, dude. Billy Mack will make it happen.
Motivational sidewalk.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Billy Mack song
exactly.
or album name
like,
or something.
Yeah. Shouts to Billy Mack. But that's exactly like that producer you were saying. Like he kind of just lets them do their thing.
And you know what?
Step
And you're saying how to catch that. It's like that's kind of my personality too. I'm not the kind of person, and because I know how people respond to stuff. Not everybody is like militaristic and like on a sports team or wants to be treated like that. Not everybody likes that. Like most people don't like that. Most people just need like a gentle guidance or like to just be a person and be like, if you want to talk about what's tough, well, let's talk about it. If you don't, it's okay. You don't have to. But even just saying, no, it's cool, don't do it. That was actually one of the most important moments in school to me. Was a teacher who I was kind of weird in elementary school, and it had some classes I was in, and like the one teacher was terrible to me, and the other teacher just said, oh, you don't want to do that? Okay, you can play piano. And then like just let me do that. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. He respected me. And then I like was way better at doing my work in that class then. And I like started knocking stuff out.
Also, while we're talking about that example, people like I am like I give lessons. I work with kids now. I am like appalled at how many people don't know how to talk to kids. Did you ever notice that? Like
I taught drums for like 2 or 3 years.
And like when like if I have like a 7-year-old student, I'm just like, what's up, dude? And he's like, how you doing? And like they're people. Like God, respect them. You know what I mean? Like you don't like my
hey little guy.
Exactly. I was
like
I was always gonna say like I always say that when I was a kid, and like you have a friend of your parent that's like, hey, you got a girlfriend? And you're like, it's a joke directed at your parent, but it's through you. And you're just like, don't use me like a fucking tool. Like shut up. And it's just like, I'm not you.
It's the worst.
It's like so kids are people. You know, just respect them.
We're hitting all the really strong points.
For real. Like, I don't know. It's just like
I know what you mean though, because I had that feeling when I was a kid a bunch. Because I two older brothers, so I was like the youngest by like 4 or 5 years. When you're like that middle range of like single digits, and you're like, I'm not. Like people come up to you still and do that, like baby stuff. And you're like, kind of like I'm aware now. Like I know what's going on a little bit.
Even if it's funny now because I'm 24 now, but even if I'm like with my dad and it's in that context. If like my dad is talking to a friend of his, that person be like, how's school? How's everything going? Like I'm like, I'm an adult too. Like it's like just because I'm with my dad and you recognize me as his son, like I'm not a kid. You know what I mean?
It is weird. It's funny.
It's such a weird thing. But
I was lucky. My parents made a point to like they introduced me to lots of their friends, and I was like super talkative, and they were like, here's Matt, he plays drums and he does this, and they talked to me, and they were like treated me like an adult a lot, which I think helped me treat other people like adults and respect people too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge, and my parents never like. I mean, I don't remember it obviously. They said they never did like baby talk.
Oh yeah, my parents never did that too.
Like even when I was younger, like when I was like a toddler, I remember them talking to me like a normal.
They just went right to like trying to get me to learn words and
and
start talking.
Why not? You know, like
I like that.
If you want to talk to something like a baby, get a dog or something. Like they're not going to be affected by it.
I even feel bad talking to my dog.
I know. Me too. Like, it's just like
one day he's going to finally fucking talk. I know it's
going to. I know what's going on.
It's going to happen.
That dude. Sometimes that happens. My dog is so like.
You thought your dog talks sometimes?
Yeah.
Wild.
Just gets stuff off his chest. I let him vent every once in a while. So, what time? How long are we going?
You go 2 minutes before it's an hour.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
jeez.
All right.
Dang. That went
fast.
fast.
Yeah. So
this is really cool. Again, I want to say this is awesome because like this is stuff that happens at the studio sometimes when there's like not as cramped a schedule. Like people come by and just talk about shit like this. So this is great.
Yeah, dude.
It's cool to get into some of these.
I've been bugging you for. I've wanted to have you on for so long because I know you. If we just sat down, we could talk about it.
Yeah, no, I love.
We could go for 3 more hours, and so we'd love to have you back anytime.
Yeah, there's so much pizza out there.
And you know what? I wanted you. I wanted you. Yeah, exactly, dude. That's the barstool. But that's funny. Adam and I did that with all the pizza places we could go to.
Yeah, we had
You did a pizza tour?
A little bit.
Yeah,
nice.
we rated them the way Barstool did.
That's cool. I did like a burrito version of that in LA in like 2006 or something like that.
It's fun to do with like cheeseburgers too.
Yeah?
Yeah, or like just anything cheesesteaks, cheeseburgers.
And there's a lot of.
Like yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Common American food. But I was gonna say next time when we have more like if we have more planning time, I'd love to do this, and then to wrap it up, I would love to have you play a song or two with us.
Oh, sure.
Because that's something I wanted to do. Like when we have guest bands on eventually, like I want to have bands on, and they'll play. I'll talk to them, and then we'll like play together or something. You know,
yeah,
so I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But what was that? I don't want to really cover one last thing, but so I guess the music industry. I know this is not a small thing, but what? How do you think the music industry? Because it's kind of. Bleh. Like it's just nothing. It's just
talking
like
to somebody
bleh.
about this the
like
other
it's
day
so
too.
so
it
how
does. Okay, I'm glad you feel like that. I feel better.
Yeah, like it's there
was a time where it felt very organized and like there was a clear step through
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the old band of mine, like because we're starting to do stuff again, like bi-coastally basically. They're both in LA-ish area, Orange County, and me and the other dude who we moved out there like together 20 some years ago or whatever. Oh, not 18 years ago, whatever it is. He's here. So me and the one dude who moved out there and formed this band, we're here together, they're back there together. So we're like throwing stuff back and forth and like
Oh, is the guy from Maplewood?
Yep, Maplewood Records
Cool,
or whatever. So we're like, he's navigating the kind of new thing, and we were just talking the other day how like in 2005 or 6, we paid like $17.50 a month to have a company have a phone bank of people and like administrative assistants sending our CDs out to 500 college radio stations, then calling them every single day, 350 about college radio stations, then printing a report with what they said about our songs and stuff like that, getting it added, getting it start to chart on CMJ, all this stuff. And like,
dude, I would fucking kill for anything like that.
There's still companies still do that. They're out there.
Just,
there's a bunch of like higher tier PR companies like that. But you can do so much without physical anything anymore. Like there's still a lot of radio stations still like getting a CD because they still have their whole filing system and they pop it out and they'll play it.
I guess what I mean by like when I say I would kill for it, it's not like I think I know there are people that do that. It's just I wish the radio stations were that open to it now. You know what I mean? I've sent my music to so many radio stations and like everyone's just like, no, we gotta just play what gets people to keep the channel on. I'm like, dude, come on with that.
Was it like college stations?
I've sent
like
to a couple of college and it's either our music doesn't fit with what they play or the thing I just said. And it's like, can you just like, I mean, all of our songs sound a little pretty different. Like, can you just pick one of them? Like,
pick something
that's close. Like, geez, like, come on, man, give me a break here. And it's tough though. It's like everyone is since everything is so aggressive and intense. Everyone has to do what works.
You have a niche for yourself now, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding that niche. So I think the game now, not game, but you know what I mean? The effort to be put into promotion now is finding that niche and seeing how you can work within it. Like this, I mean, you're finding people who are into what you're doing, and like you let it grow, and eventually, like maybe you'll go out to where some of the people are and stuff. Like that,
that's the main. I'm just like
back then. It was like you just inundate people with shit, and you tell them this is the next fucking thing. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Thanks. They're getting like I saw I would get a report PDF every week and then print it out, and it was that thick. I shit you not. It was that thick, and it would say like where they went so far, who they called, left a second message. This one loved it. This one kind of liked it. This one thought it was actually this fuction Muhlenberg hated my band.
Dude,
isn't that funny?
Me too. Muhlenberg hated my stuff. They didn't even get back to
They were like threw it away. Literally. I was like,
Muhlenberg is exactly what I was referring to. They did not like my music.
So salty around here.
And I kind of pushed too because they were like also I could talk to the host or the channel manager or whatever.
Well, you know,
station manager, and I was like,
it's not all students. They had to push for it to be more student run in the last 15 years. It used to be like there's still are people. I know this dude Stevie who has one of the best weird awesome radio stations. What's it called? I'll think of it in a sec. But he has a show and he's a dude in his 40s who lives in Allentown.
Oh yeah, there's a buddy of mine.
His name's
Mike Cuff on East Stroudsburg. He has a show on East Stroudsburg Radio, and I've been on his show a couple times. He's really nice. He's a great guy, and he's like I'd say he's in his 40s. Yeah,
and it's a community guy. It's not someone who goes to school there anymore.
Yeah,
so they still have a bit of community people, and I was like, oh, that's so funny because I bet that's like some punk dickhead who I probably know and like who I've gone to shows with or played shows with or whatever in the Lehigh Valley, but they have a radio show and they're an asshole.
Yeah,
it's great. And they only want to hear this one specific thing.
Yeah,
and I took it with a grain of salt. I don't care.
I know. It's just because I at first I was just kind of pushing because the station manager was like, yeah, I'll pass it on and they'll get back to you if they want to have you, because I asked if I could like come on and play acoustic or something, because they're like 10 minutes away. Don't want to triangulate my location too much, but it was like they did that, and then it was like right before Christmas break. I timed it poorly, so then I got back to them after. And they're like, I'll do it again. And they're like, I'll just see if they listen to it beforehand. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, did they listen? And he's like, then he didn't respond. I was like, oh, they don't like it.
You gotta time it for like certain campaign times and stuff like that.
Yeah, but then I pushed to make sure they heard it. And then he just didn't get back to me. I was like, oh, jeez. Okay. It's just like,
yeah.
You just like, yeah. So it's weird that, but it used to be very uniform, like you were saying.
Yeah, or at least like it felt like there was like a map.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And now we're trying to figure it out. I used to get really like down and dirty with that stuff too, and I had spreadsheets, and I had me and this guy Jeff, like he was in the band, and we both kind of like between the two of us just mined data as far as like the addresses for college radio stations and all this stuff. And we did a bunch of stuff like DIY style, and then eventually we, this firm found us, and it led to good stuff. Like we got a bunch of play, and like it was easier to book a tour. Just reaching out to venues, they like thought they'd heard of us somehow, and it's probably because like someone played our stuff at some point and mentioned our name or whatever, and it just those little things like add up. It's crazy to think that to get that little effect you have to spend like almost $2,000 for a month. You just have so that someone kind of thinks they heard you, but it's this weird like
it's just planting these little seeds.
Exactly.
That you just want to cover as much ground.
You have to look at it like it's all a very like slow process. And
exactly.
Anymore, like it's kind of like there's so many like playlists and stuff you can get on, and then like who's actually listening to those? Or those like they're just bots listening to music, and like
that's a whole
it's
other
just a
conversation.
Whole shit mess.
Nothing is real anymore. Like I just watched this news story this morning about this woman who goes on Fiverr and she sells companies fake testimonials, and it's a video of her, and she's like, I'm a teacher in the area, and then like another one, I'm a registered dietitian in this company, and like, and she like you charge her like $20, and you give her a script, and she reads it like she's this person, I mean, I guess she's just
a horrible person,
technically acting, but the companies behind it are more horrible. She's not helping, but it's just like, what do you fucking believe anymore? And it's like Jesus.
I mean,
Christ.
at some point, that's gonna kill somebody.
If
her
it hasn't
doing
already.
that, that's exactly. Like, or like it probably has. She probably indirectly killed someone. That's fucking crazy.
Exactly. It's to the point where someone said like it's the point of harm now. Like you're just misinforming to the point of harm.
But to go back to the music stuff, like still nothing gets you out there like, and this is the beautiful part of all of this is like just networking and meeting people. I think it's the best part when you find like a buddy band that's like, oh man, we got to see those rad dudes in Sacramento who we see twice a year again, and we're gonna play a show together, and we're gonna like tell each other how much we love each other's music and like hang out and get wasted and like do dumb shit, and then we're gonna like say our goodbyes or maybe play a couple shows with them and like. Their friends will come see us, and then if they come down here, our friends will see them, and then stuff builds a little more each time if you keep doing it. And it's like that's all out there. Like there's still lots of cities throughout the country.
And with that, I'm totally blanking. What was I just gonna say? But for example, there's a band called Crowbot, and they're from Pottsville, I think, and they're pretty big now, and they the way they got attention from a label was they were playing some rinky-dink ass bar show in like Ohio, and a label executive or a label scout just happened to be at that show, and they saw they were playing in New York where the label was, and they called without telling the band at all. They called the label exec and say, "Hey, go see the show," and they're there, and then it's like
wild.
And and I asked him about that show, like how many people at that show? It was like maybe 10.
That's amazing.
Like there were like 10 people in this bar,
but they know that band can.
But one of them was this. So
they have something special, and
so you gotta like. It's crazy how something that small.
It's so hard to like picture like these bands that blow up. You're like, how does it even get there?
Yeah,
like what happened?
Dude, the Killers. I'm still trying to like connect the dots. I've read everything so many times about how they.
I remember when they blew up exactly.
It was just like.
There's this station that started called Indie 103.1 in LA, and they started playing the Killers like all the time.
Really?
And then they just came, it was like someone must have been putting their music out there and kind of like bugging them like play the song, it's gonna be a big one, and then they started playing it like every hour, Mr. Brightside, and then like after that. And also this whole it was funny too, I felt this whole kind of like dancey kind of electronic indie thing starting to happen too in LA. It was kind of organically happening in LA aside from them, and then it just fucking got nuts. Like everybody was trying to do that kind of thing up until the Arcade Fire. Then everyone played like Loot or something or whatever.
And then it got all really reverby, and crowd vocally,
get like a
which I love. I think it's
they're awesome.
And it's
but all the people who wanted to jump on a train just did that thing. But there are some bands who were doing that. Like there's a band called Porterville who were doing that before the Killers blew up. And it was like there was just a thing they were experimenting with. And it was cool to like look back on that and think, oh wow, there was like a proto band doing a thing that blew up and got shot and glossed up a little bit, and got like a hi-fi production and everything, and that was like coming from somewhere in that. Like they probably got obsessed with like Echo and the Bunny Man and like
And
whatever.
that's what the Killers
like
all
all that stuff.
But it's so weird because they were like again, they were playing some bar in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and then this guy from the UK was in this bar,
Mm-hmm.
and then he said, "Hey, I want to fly you out to meet with my boss," and it was Lizard King Records,
Mm-hmm.
and they met with that label, and then I guess they signed him. Like it took, and then they just made they made the record at like the same time, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden, Hot Fuss was out. Zane Lowe played Mr. Brightside on BBC Radio 1 like really early before anyone else really played it, and that was a
Mhm.
huge thing. They blew up in the UK, and then they kind of just jumped over here because they couldn't really get any attention in America before the UK,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure that was a huge help. But it's like, what? Like they had a
Yeah.
demo, and then all of a sudden, Mr. Brightside's out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I mean,
And
you
it's
have the labels had a big voice back then.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's-
mean? Like
Yeah.
they had this like machinery to get your music in
Mhm.
front of a lot of people
Yeah.
and give people what they wanted to hear
Mhm.
around then. Like they would do focus groups and make sure they were on to
Yeah,
what
yeah.
people like what was trending and like what people kind of wanted to hear in music.
And as like seductive as that sounds as a musician, it's like, oh my god, they can just put my music in front of everyone.
Yeah,
They
that's
have
what-
like they pick like the order of the album. They pick if you
Mhm.
love this song, they're like, nope, not that one. And then like they take a lot of the artistry out of it. You know,
Mhm.
I remember Billy Corgan was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how he met with the executives when Siamese Dream was coming out or something, and the guy kept calling it. He's like, so when you have the product out, we're gonna put. And he's like, dude, stop! Ugh. It's like my art, and you're calling it a
Yeah.
product. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
that's very weird.
That's so gross.
There's so much, and he was like in a boardroom, and like, oh god.
I want to see Billy Corgan in a boardroom.
Yeah. I
Like
can't
hanging
even-
upside down like a bat.
Yeah.
He looks like a bat.
Yeah, when he had hair. When he had that thing that, yeah. So it's like there's so much.
I feel like I forgot to look up. Mixing business with ours is pretty fucked. It's
yeah,
true.
for real. But that's the thing. Like, that's kind of going away because now it's like, what are like labels kind of have the same.
They do lots of stuff in house too. Like
Yeah.
instead of hiring a promo firm, I feel like a lot of the promo firms are out there, kind of just make money off of people who are pretty good,
Hmm.
but are probably going to break up in like a year or two.
Yeah, they
who
kinda
aren't going
just-
to last too long. I think they kind of like
Mhm.
almost like target people who are
Hmm.
kind of like middle ground bands or
Yeah.
something like that who
Mhm.
like aren't working too hard or something.
And you know what's
Who
funny?
they know
'Cause
they
I-
can make some
it's
money
funny
off of
because
them.
I can think of like 2 or 3 bands from this area that I know that are exactly like that. I'm not going to mention anyone, but like it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've seen them. I'm like, I don't have. It's like they're in this
There's-
weird limbo of
Yeah.
like kind of successful, but they've been there for like 3 years now. It's like,
And then that's a thing that I kind of give some bands in the Valley or old ones even credit for. Like,
Mhm.
there are some bands that like really got far who are kind of like, we don't care about that, we never did,
Uh-huh.
and they're just kind of just let shit go
Mhm.
after that and don't,
Mhm.
because they're just like, it wasn't for us,
Mhm.
it just wasn't cool.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Which
yeah, and sometimes you just realize that naturally.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's you think you want something, but you're presented with it, and you're like, maybe not.
but you
know, like,
you want like the idea of something and not the whole thing.
you don't realize how it actually is.
Yeah.
Or that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So it's like, I think the music industry is a large beast that
Mm-hmm.
is anew.
But there's ways to like I posted this thing just kind of like I posted a positive thing about the Spotify wrap, but then kind of like a yeah but kind of thing about that just
Mhm.
because I was like, you know,
Yeah.
I should present both sides,
Mhm.
and I have some feelings about both. It's really cool, and it's also kind of like unfortunate that you're not making dick for that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
But through working Spotify and other things, you can like find little ways to like if you have a catchy song, like
Mhm.
you can get it added to pools where someone might like license it for something.
Mhm, mhm.
That's all out there. Like
Yeah.
lots of people aren't trying to do that.
Yeah.
Like that
Nice.
Maplewood Records that I told you about, they sold. There's this obscure. Got to preface it with there's an obscure psych band called Glass Family. It still has fans speckled about the U.S. because they're on Warner Brothers and stuff.
Oh, cool.
They played with like the Doors and the Grateful Dead and
Oh,
all
wow,
this
okay.
stuff. But they just kind of like had families then. They were just like,
Mhm.
that's cool, but I'm done taking mushrooms and puking on stage.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Yeah, right? I have kids.
Yeah.
And so they made some good music, and then they had like a 15-year career, really.
Oh,
And
wow.
then the Maplewood re-released like their kind of hit album or whatever,
Mhm.
and yeah, he's crazy. So they re-released it on vinyl,
Mhm.
and then because they had the rights to it finally after all
Yeah.
these years, and then this documentary in like is it Italy or something bought one single song for $10,000.
Wow.
Right, like and like the
Mhm.
label owned it, so
Yeah.
it was the label's money. Like they did the deal, they did the whole thing. So the label was like, okay, we can do more. So they actually released our old, like an album compilation of our stuff or whatever too.
Oh yeah.
But they're using that money then to kind of get more stuff like that. So it's out there. That was like random as hell.
Yeah, it's just
That was like they sent a couple emails out to a couple people who were looking for songs. Really like not a promo push of any kind. I'm talking like tomorrow I make $10,000.
Yeah.
Like that's nuts.
Yeah.
So that stuff is out there, and there's enough people doing things that are also monetized where they might want music for their movie. And like at worst, if you get not a lot of money for getting some song in some like little indie movie or like a student film or something like that, like you're gonna maybe gain some fans from the people who saw that, you know. And then you can go there, and hopefully they'll come out and pay like $5 to see you, and that's where you could actually make money to keep it perpetuating it. Yeah.
Make use of it.
But there's still all those little tiny, like, minute avenues that are there. And I think it's something that people could focus on more than before.
Yeah.
Because lots of people are, like, creating content now. As compared to like the mid 2000s or something like that, where only some big ass movie would have like a Shin song, or like Good Will Hunting had Elliott Smith, and really brought him to the mainstream. Like that was kind of like, you are going to be the person of the year band.
It's kind of like when Johnny Carson had a comedian on. If you were on Johnny Carson, now you have a TV show. Like,
Yep.
Yo, it's funny. That kind of happened with FIFA, like the soccer games. They always had like their music playlist is always like, at least it used to be. I haven't played in a couple years now, but it was like a big deal because like there'd be these little like songs that would like. I remember that was the first time I heard Imagine Dragons was from FIFA, and then they blew up like a couple months later. They were huge. There's another one.
That's part of what like some of the PR people do is it's
crazy.
Market it to college radio so that people want to find out who you are and listen to you and buy your shit and go to your shows. But they also try and get you licensing money and stuff like that too.
American Authors. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of them.
I have heard.
They had what was their big hit? It was Best Day of My Life, something like that.
Oh yeah,
I forget what it was called.
No, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They were on FIFA like a year before that got like blew up. It's just weird. Like you see these like little bits
Walk
where
the Moon and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard
that was FIFA.
Millencolin on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
I was telling Adam this. I'm not really ashamed of it. I shit you not. My entire life in music I credit it to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and Guitar Hero. I heard the first thing I remember that made me want to be a musician. I heard TNT and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. I discovered the Killers because When You Were Young was on Guitar Hero 3, and now they're my favorite band. Like, I look back and I'm like, shit, it all comes back to fucking video. Like, I heard it in a video game, and it's crazy. And I try to feel like, well, there's got to be at least. No, that was like, there's got to be at least one. Like,
you boot up Madden 2002, Party Hard is playing
every
single time. It's like, come on,
exactly. Like it's. Like, I remember American Idiot was in Madden 2005. So if I didn't like Green Day, I probably would have found it through that, you know? Like, it's just, that's insane how big of an influence video games has had.
Superman and
Tony Hawk?
Yeah. When I open my fridge, Bono just starts singing.
Exactly.
He's like, ah! Shit. That's like, I'm starting to lose weight.
Hopefully it's at least 80s Bono.
Yeah, it's coming back. I know, I actually like 80s Bono.
Me too. I like every Bono, but that's, I guess I'm the outcast there. But.
It's a Bono multiverse.
Yeah, for real.
Quantum Bono.
But Oscar had some great insight there. He did. Yeah, he tends to.
He has a lot to say.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
Who's Oscar?
My dog.
That's right.
But all right. As much as I would love to keep talking, I guess we should. Yeah, for real.
Every Bono was happening at the same
Joshua Tree,
time.
No question. Joshua Tree.
That's a great album.
Joshua Tree Bono all day. Cowboy hat is too small for his head. Bono.
No,
definitely Matt Bono for sure. So all right, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
It was fun.
Again, if you're in the area, Lehigh Valley, Shards LV on social media, right?
Yeah, it's at Shards LV.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
The best local recording studio, without a doubt. So check it out. If you like our music, it's because of him. So
he wrote most of it.
And we we do have an EP coming out through you. So we'll be that'll be out soon. So stick around for it. And Matt, it's a pleasure as always, my man.
Hey man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, hell yeah,
fun.
It's fun.
And, we will see you. I will talk about it on a gaming stream this week, but we're gonna try and stream our Christmas party. But I'll tell you for sure this week. So stick around. Come hang out on the Mario Maker video game streams, and we'll talk to you then. All right. Good night. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.